Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Department, and then I
Hi,
did
guys.
another year of visiting assistant
Hi, guys.
fellowship.
I think we're
I've
waiting
had
to
four
achieve
visiting
the
assistant professions in the
quorum
last
in
6-7
person,
years.
so we can't technically call
what
the meeting
area
to
are you
order
in?
yet,
Criminal
but
justice.
we're giving it a few more
Sorry?
minutes to see
Criminal
if any
justice.
stragglers show
Oh,
up here in
wow.
But
person.
I
Okay.
sociology,
Thank you.
so I have the sociology, kind of historical world.
Yeah. Laura, I see Len.
And you got Cam.
I see a dark spot. Oh, that's Cam.
All right.
Chat.
Hello,
I'm
Cam.
gonna head out to lunch. If you guys need anything, you have both my number, or you can just come bother me up front if I'm still here, okay? Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Sarah.
Thanks,
Enjoy your meeting.
Sarah. Okay. I hate to do this. Tell me your name again.
Josh.
Josh, that's right. Usually make a point of.
And which Josh are you?
I'm from Just. I'm
You're with Just?
Yeah, I'm associated.
And your last name?
Fishkin. Fishkin.
Okay.
Yeah, he keeps record.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, I'm one of many
Okay,
judges.
I'm calling this meeting to order at 12:09. And we have two guests here, Andy Prakas and Josh.
Fishkin.
Thank you. Good. They're visiting, at least one of their interests is the blue bag issue. So we will talk briefly about that yet again. Hello, Nikita.
Hello, hello.
So I don't see Caitlin yet. I don't see Tommy. I don't see, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more person, I forget who.
Luke.
Well,
Tom Costello.
no, we have 6 plus Luke.
We're missing
I should have brought
Caitlin.
you
I've got
I've
the
lost
names
it.
here. Cam.
yeah.
Okay. We're missing.
Cam, you're quite a dark horse with that window behind you.
I know. It's so bright behind me. I'm sorry, guys.
Big deal.
Well, okay. I think it's just Luke and Cam missing.
No, Cam is
It's
here.
right there.
It's
I'm sorry. Tom.
Tommy and who goes
Sorry,
by
guys.
the name of Tommy. It's not just a.
Is Richard missing, or is he no longer active?
Sorry, what was that?
Richard.
Oh, Richard never told me anything, but he didn't renew his
Oh, okay.
his term, so I haven't seen him to ask him what's up, but okay, let us go. For this meeting, I just listed a bunch of things that I thought we ought to catch up on. And the very first thing is appointment of a secretary. Scott has been doing it pro tem. I did it once, and but Richard is no longer with us. He was the secretary. Do we have somebody who would really love to be secretary? I know you're all bashful too, but anyway, if one of you thinks you could do it, I would very much appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, I'll do it today, but anyone want to maybe pick it up next time?
I can do it next time. It's just once summer hits, I get incredibly busy with my field season with my job, so I'm not sure how many of the meetings I will be able to attend during summer months. So I don't know if I am able to commit to it
Oh,
long.
Cam, that would be cool. What's summer for you? Probably May on, right?
May through October. Typically, the growing season for wetlands lineations is when I'm busiest.
Okay, if you would do it for March and April, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's fine. I can commit to those.
Scott will do it today.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, memberships. Just look at the whiteboard, all of you, would you, and see if you're recorded as members. I was just looking at the old video of the Climate and Resiliency Committee, and I saw Len there, I saw Nikita, and I thought, well, they're not on as members. Maybe they would like to be officially members. So, is Len with us? I guess not, no.
Yes, let's see.
Oh, yes, there you are. Okay, sorry. So would you like to be a member, Len? Officially a member of the subcommittee? Which is only, I mean, we can all go to any subcommittee meetings, but.
Could you just repeat which subcommittee?
What she said?
Which subcommittee?
Oh, climate change and resiliency.
Yes, please.
I was listening to the recording of that from several months ago, and you were there.
Yes.
Yes, I would also like to be added to that one if possible. And I can go in on Basecamp, do that.
Well, okay. Actually, I'm not sure you can yeah, you can manipulate the whiteboard, but anyway, I will add Cam and I'll add Len to the committee.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And there was one other. Oh, Nikita. Yeah, you are listed, I think, Nikita. So.
Okay, I don't remember, but yeah. Okay.
And look, would you just look through any other of the subcommittees or committees, as I guess they're officially called, and let me know if you want to be on those. And I think on the climate change and resiliency, Luke was agreed to be chair, and Scott actually was the secretary. So you want, yeah, whatever you need.
Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Okay, let us move on. We just need a name for the composting committee, okay? And, you know, we said this committee and then never said what it was. But the subject of it was composting. So I will just arbitrarily say we will call it the composting committee. And I'm trying to remember, somebody else said they were interested in it.
I said I was interested. And that's because the guy who does mapping was mapping of the city. Which of our members does a lot of?
Yeah, I think that was Tommy, yeah.
Yeah, that's Tommy, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as Tommy's on the committee, I'm there.
Okay, so, yeah. Okay, so let's have Len and Tommy on it. Okay, any other comments on committees? I don't think any committee has met in a couple of months, so, and I don't think they have to, by the way. It's just a question of being ready to do things.
Oh, because I do have to head out. Have a lovely day. Thank you.
I was supposed to be his
Okay.
ride, but I think we're gonna go past the time.
Are you okay?
Okay.
It's okay, it's okay. He's just gonna.
Hey,
catch
you've
the-
got to be back by 1?
He needs you back by
I gotta
one.
get back to
I-
the
I have a
university.
little more-
I have a bus
Okay.
pass, I'm all good.
It's
Good.
okay.
Thank
I
you.
just didn't want him to miss his class.
Yeah, let me just go in order
I
so I
apologize.
remember.
Thank you,
No,
folks.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, Nikita, just do those minutes at the tail end of that meeting that you said we missed. You know, just do what you remember, okay? And
Wait,
because your comment, it was about the ecotoxicology meeting 6 months ago. And you said,
yeah,
a couple months ago, there were no minutes for the last little bit. In fact, there's no minutes for the first part either. But if you would like to do some minutes for those last few minutes, that didn't go on the recording. That was the point.
yes, I can do that.
Okay, just do that sometime.
Okay, all right.
And then I have here climate and resiliency. I was going to catch up with things, but neither Luke or Tommy are here. And Julian has not really done what he said he was going to do about flood maps. So we will just leave climate resiliency at that, unless any of you have any comments.
I don't know if that would be the best place to bring it up, but I would like to have some discussion with the rest of the commission about the state of the city's shade trees. I do think that's best put under climate resiliency, and we don't need to have that discussion now. But I personally am the chair of the city's shade tree commission, and I'm pretty frustrated with the lack of interest that the city has shown. And I do think it's directly impacting our community for a variety of reasons, and we can discuss that at a later date, but I did want to bring that up.
Thank you, Cam. Okay, I've got that down and we will do that.
So Cam, so I get it right. You want to have a discussion on the work of the Shade Tree Commission?
It doesn't necessarily need to be about, we can have that as part of the discussion. It's more so if what we can do to better support the shade trees or lack thereof going on in the city. Just as a quick brief while we're talking about it, I guess, there's been a lot of development in the city recently, and much of that development has had the landscaping code appealed by the zoning board. Based on conversations we've had with the commission, the Shade Tree Committee, and the zoning board and planning commission, it's kind of at liberty of the zoning board to say if an appeal is approved or not, but based on the appeals that they have been approving, I don't really see any rationale as to why they are being approved, and a lot of them are being approved. So we're removing shade trees and not replanting them, and I don't really know why those decisions are being made, and they're not really listening to us over at the Shade Tree Committee, so I thought I would bring it up over here in the Climate Commission. Or Conservation for Climate. I forget the formal name.
Good idea. And as you know, I have a lot of experience with the Shade Tree Commission, so I can help.
Yes.
That might be another one for when Tom's here too, because I know you mentioned zoning. Tom's great at that. But then also, wasn't he part of the shade? We had, if I remember correctly, like last year we had a shade tree. Was it a committee? Maybe it dissolved. No, I might be thinking of the Native Gardens Task Force, but I thought Tom was working on something there. Anyway, I'm bringing Tom into this, and he's not even here to defend himself, but Tom might be a good one too for that conversation.
Yeah, if we want to postpone it to our next month's meeting, that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure it was on the agenda somewhere.
Yeah, okay. Just as a note, Cam and I are listed not as members on the base camp, not as members of the Conservation Commission, but as members of the Shade Tree Commission. But just deal with it. I've asked that we be moved to the Conservation Commission, but it doesn't seem to get through. So I don't care too much, but just in case you wonder, Shade Tree Commission is not a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission. It's actually a different commission, and it actually reports to the executive part of the city, not city council, the way we do. So just for clarification.
No, that's helpful. That must be what I'm thinking of. Thanks, Julian.
Thank you, Shepard.
Yep. Okay. Good. Okay. I didn't get Andy on here because I did a draft. I might have amended it, but I didn't. So anyway, let's hear from Andy. And Andy, what I'd like to know just is, what would you like us to do? I mean, we decided, as you know, that the blue bags, and by the way, I do think Josh Paludi, the Public Works Commissioner, he was actually a guy on the trucks at one point. And so he is, he is sensitive to those issues. And he actually did a little experiment with blue bags. He said he filled some, tossed them around, tried to mess around with them, and they were, at least in his hands, quite durable. So, because that was one of the issues, durability of blue bags. But other than that, we definitely wanted to do the composting thing, but actually we deferred it because at that time there was an agreement between Vines, the city, and Cooperative Extension to do a new sort of pilot project with composting. It did call not for the city to collect composting, but it called for city residents to take it to a Vines location. So so what we said was we'll see how that works out for a year or so, and then maybe we'll push the composting. Well, it's been almost a year now, and to tell you the truth, I'm not sure how there's any how they're actually measuring any if they are. So I will look into that and find out what's been happening with that. But we certainly
just
are
did
all
all
in
this
favor of the composting idea. And Richard Ginnasio, who was on the commission here, did put in his own proposal. I think he was sort of fed up with our lack of proposing it at the time. And in spite of the fact that, well, we voted in favor of our recommendations, but he put in his own proposal, which was quite good. It was the kind of thing we would like to see. But basically, it was having the city collect. And that's, as we said a few minutes ago, that's a big deal. That requires some organization. Anyway, there we are, Andy. Would you like to speak your mind?
Sure, thanks,
Okay.
Joanne. So my name's Andy Pregas. I'm gonna point myself to this microphone instead of looking at you guys because you can probably hear me a little better. So I'm not trying to be rude to those of you on the screen. So I come at this from I think a bit of a different perspective. So I think it's important to contextualize why I care about blue bags, right? Often people think like, Andy, why do you care about this issue? What's your bag? Because I do most of the work I do is anti-mass incarceration work, supporting people that are incarcerated and that are in the criminal legal system. And that's what I've been studying for over a decade. I taught it for many years. From here, I was actually at an organized press conference about supporting New York for All and digging out the tension, which are critical bills to protect immigrants in our community. So that's actually what I do most of the time. I don't actually see the blue bag issue as separate from those things. For me, the blue bag issue is a critical economic justice issue in our city. And when I think of the blue bag issue, I think many of the larger issues that we have in the city of Binghamton or what residents see and feel are reflected in this issue itself, right? The blue bags are a tax on families with kids. That is who spends the most on blue bags, right? And at the same time, there are deep issues with not only this kind of this regressive tax on families with kids, people we want to be supporting in our community. We want families with kids in the city of Binghamton. And the blue bags, I can't tell you how many times I've heard from talking to folks that they can't afford the blue bags, so they dump stuff, they hoard stuff. I know I've not thrown things away because I don't have blue bags. Usually I've been lucky enough in my life where affording blue bags isn't terrible, but going and spending $30, I go buy them multiples at a time. So sucks. It's a tax that you pay once a month, twice a month. Every time you buy a roll of bags, you're paying a tax, right? And that's, I think, that's where I kind of come at this. I also have seen that the city, the way that sanitation and trash collection is done is extremely unequal. The city of Binghamton, downtown Binghamton, the urban core gets trash collection every single day of the week, and you don't need to put it in a blue bag. If you don't believe me, just go sit here at 5, 6, 7 o'clock when they're driving around town and see what they put in their trucks, right? I'm talking from my experience with my own eyes, right? We don't get the same service in the neighborhoods. Additionally, I've also seen, sometimes I'll put something on the curb in a blue bag, sometimes not. Sometimes it gets picked up, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get a ticket, sometimes you don't. But I know that I think more areas are ticketed than others. And I really think that that's a really important issue that we should look into about which areas are ticketed for illegal trash and which are not. For my part, I have put lots of things on the curb that I didn't think were going to get picked up, and they got picked up, and I'm extremely grateful for it. I got a ticket one time last year. I was so excited to go down and pay my $25 fine because I benefited from the city's non-salon policies on the west side. But I know other neighborhoods do not benefit from that as I do. I'm on the west side. I'm near the park, right? So I think this inequality is a key element for me, that some places are targeted more than others for, quote, illegal trash. In some places, let's be honest, you can put literally anything out and it'll get picked up. In some neighborhoods, you can't. The other part is there are a number of city codes which are just simply not being followed. Just simply not being followed. There is a can requirement in the city of Binghamton. You have to put your bags in a can, and there is a can limit, which I didn't even know. I've been working on this issue for I don't know, for almost a year, and I didn't even know that there was a can limit. But there's actually can stipulations and can requirements, and they're simply not followed. Now, I understand, and I think it's judicious to have some codes you have to enforce more than others. I understand that. I'm not saying we should go and be going after people because you didn't put your stuff in a can. Right. But when we're talking about an issue like this, it's when you go and look at the codes, how it doesn't match what's actually happening on the ground and what's being enforced, it gives a bad perception. And frankly, I do think that the bag should go in cans.
You think the bags are what size?
I think that it should go in the can.
Yeah.
And the main reason why is, I have trash in my neighborhood, all flying through the neighborhood, right? Constantly. My bushes collect garbage all the time, and it's usually from a bag ripping or more than often animals. And don't get me wrong, I like the skunk that eats my garbage, right? He's a very friendly skunk. But we have lots of critters that eat the trash because people put it out on the curb. And yeah, I probably put my bags out before I'm supposed to. I often will put it in a garbage bag, in a garbage bin, which is oversized and actually an illegal trash can because it's too big. They take it, which I'm grateful for. But it does, people get the perception that Binghamton is dirty. How many times we've gone around and people said, Binghamton's so dirty. A lot of that actually does have to do with the bags and with the hoard and with people hoarding trash. I mean, you drive around the city of Binghamton, people are stacking up trash on their front porches and stuff like this. We should be, my perception, what I believe is that a trash collection system should be encouraging people to throw away their trash through the best, cleanest possible way, and that is the municipal trash. We all know this, right? We don't want to discourage people from throwing away garbage. We want to encourage it.
Recycling.
Of course, we also want to encourage recycling. And don't get me wrong, I do initially the blue bags were put in the same time that municipal recycling in the early 1990s, yes. And they introduced at the same time. Now, however, people in my generation and even older, but certainly younger, have grown up with recycling. I've never known a time when there's not a yellow bin in every room I've ever been in, right? Mm-hmm. We recycle reflexively or you don't. Yeah. And the blue bags also have, but it doesn't just encourage recycling, right? That's what I'm kind of trying to point at, is it has all these other knockoff effects. I mean, I have a friend who, when he wants to get the most bang for his buck from the blue bags, so if his bag isn't full that week, he fills it with recycling. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's a common experience, but what I am saying is that this kind of rational choice theory that we're operating under, that's trying to encourage behavior this way or that way, we actually don't know all. We have to take in the whole effect of it, not just the one that we think we like, which is recycling. And so I think that's my big concern, is that, and with the report itself, what the big thing I was concerned about is that it was based on a very limited set of information. Mm-hmm. It was no larger study that was done. I do think that we need a large sanitation study in the city of Binghamton to actually give us options. I'm one dude we're a group of volunteers,
Yep.
right, in this room,
Yep.
right? You guys none of us have the expertise to do this, or the knowledge, or the most up-to-date skills. There does
Yep.
need to be a sanitation study done in the city of Binghamton.
We have studied the issue, but there.
But I mean, there was a lot of voices of residents were missing from the study that y'all did. And I do have to say, I mean, I was here the whole time I'm not trying to knock anybody. I certainly don't have any pleasure in knocking a city employee. But I did find what the acting head of DPW said incredulous. It was simply not believable that he was asked, do you think people in the city of Binghamton know trash regulations? Do you think the majority of people in the city of Binghamton know all the trash regulations? I don't.
No.
He said they did. He said that when you do people know that you can call about late outs? He said people know that. They do not know that. Okay? I have seen do the trash bags fall apart? I have seen with my own eyes routinely that all the trucks in the city of Binghamton, they have a big shovel on the back.
Mhm.
Why do they have a big shovel on the back? That is for when the bag fails, right? That means it's routine enough that this happens that you have to have the shovel, and I've seen it happen more than once. And that's not me following the truck trying to catch, I don't have time for that,
No.
right? So I'm really not trying to knock the guy, but I think there could be some more work that could be done to identify, especially ticketing, but also consulting residents, what they have to say. I mean, part of my interest in this, I worked on the Miles Burnett campaign. That was an issue that came up there. I was one that pushed it very heavily because I thought it was an important economic justice issue. And we put out a survey. Over 1,200 people from the city of Binghamton signed the survey. Half of them left a comment.
Mhm.
And they were routinely, I can't afford it because I have kids. I'm a single mom, this, that, and the other thing. And so while I know that this is sometimes a funny issue, or one that I know you guys have taken it seriously, I'm talking about the broader community, but I think that there's just a lot of things that we need to consider with this. I think if we eliminated the bags, just put it in the damn can. We already had the regulations on the books.
Mhm.
And then found a way to fill that. It's about $1 million budget hole. That's less than 1% of the overall city of Binghamton budget, right? And by the way, $300,000 of that, we spend $300,000 a year, taxpayers spend, just to make the damn bag so we can put another plastic bag inside of the bag. So that's why I care so much about this issue. And I'm sorry for talking at length, but that's where I'm at on this.
Okay. Let me I just want to make a few comments.
Please.
Yeah. First of all, the equity issue is on the top of our agenda because George Holmesy actually published a paper in 2021, which actually talked a lot about trash on the north side of, I don't know whether you've seen that.
I haven't. I'd love to read it.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you.
Thank you.
And that actually brought to my attention, and I think the rest of us too, the equity issue. What we proposed to City Council was that a method be found to somehow make it more equitable via subsidies for lower income people particularly. And I'm afraid we kind of dumped that on City Council, and I have asked Hadassah if there's been any progress on it in City Council, and I haven't heard back from her. I didn't give her much time to respond, so it's not her fault. But what I suspect is they haven't. And what I offered actually, and I don't know if this is okay with the rest of the members of the commission, but to actually research a little bit further into the equity issue, find out if maybe SNAP recipients could be given some kind of subsidy on blue bags. That was all contingent with the blue bags. And by the way, I might ask you what we haven't actually talked about today, but blue bags are plastic, and we don't like plastic. I certainly don't. I think the rest of us would like to find a better way. But it turns out that whatever we do, there would probably be a recommendation, for instance, compost, that it be packed in plastic because you can't pack it in simply paper bags. But anyway, I won't go into that any further. But we did, one of our other recommendations was just some more quality control on the blue bags. So that was the equity issue.
I want
And
to add that it wasn't Hadassah, it was
Rebecca?
Rebecca was going to check on the SNAP.
Yes, she was, and she didn't, or at least she never told me she did. I'll ask her if she
Yeah, we
did.
could get back to
I was
her.
reluctant to push her because she's been such an activist on city council, so. But yeah, I want to pursue that issue and just see what, because I certainly don't want to sort of redo anything that city council might have done already, which I don't think they've done, but I don't attend city council meetings regularly. Okay, something else you were talking about, Andy, oh yeah, this pay as you throw idea. You say, well, it's a tax to pay for blue bags, but it's a tax to pay for water as well. But at least the water bills are based upon consumption. So what I see.
Kind of.
Okay.
Water bills are way more complicated than that, but yes.
Okay, yes. I'm sure it is, but at least it has some relationship to consumption.
Water bills go up actually as consumption goes down.
Really, yeah. But anyway, I was, some of us discussed the idea of putting sort of a flat rate on attach it to the water bill and for waste disposal. And I guess I didn't see that as a pay as you throw. And I am a bit advocate of pay as you throw because I think that leads, and it did lead a long time ago, to people reducing their garbage disposal. Of course, that was the same time that composting came in. So it's sort of an uncontrolled experiment because when recycling did come in 1990, I think it was, and that was when the blue bag issue also was instituted. So there's a bit of confusion there. But anyway, I do still believe that pay as you throw results in people reducing the kind of waste. And that is one of our major goals because recycling, letting people throw as much waste as they want to results in filling a landfill. And by God, one of the worst things to talk about, to organize in a community is finding a new waste disposal site. And so we want to just minimize what we send to the waste disposal place. Got a landfill, sorry. That's what we call it these days. We used to call them garbage dumps, but that's not allowed these days. Anyway, what do the rest of you have some comments on what Andy and I have been saying? Yes, Nikita.
Two questions. One question, my first question is with recycling, I'm really good about cleaning everything out. I will wash things and scrub it, but a lot of people don't. They just throw things away. And so from my understanding, if you don't properly clean things out, it can ruin an entire batch of recycling, correct?
Yes.
And so then, even though we want to encourage recycling, if people are not properly recycling, or if they're just throwing things out because they don't want to pay for it to go in the garbage, would that be counterproductive to recycling? Because would fewer things actually be able to be recycled because they're being dirtied by people that are not even taking the time to properly clean them?
I don't know whether the city even monitors the recycling that they pick up. I mean, they probably don't.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, I mean, the recycling, I'm not an expert on recycling, but I know that the economics of recycling have changed drastically in the last 15 years in particular. It's not something that I'm addressed specifically and talk about the blue bags, but the recycling issue and actually what does actually get recycled and what just ends up in the landfill anyways, is my understanding is pretty depressing. So from an economic standpoint for the city, I know that there's a different rate. Like it's cheaper to put it in a recycling bin versus for the city, but that's different from what actually ends up in the landfill. And I think a lot of recycling goes in the landfill. If I'm to believe what my friends in the recycling industry and kind of talk about.
I see different numbers about recycling plastic, for instance, but
Yeah.
it's around 85 or 90% is not recyclable. That's the problem.
And a lot of it, and of course we've tossed it in the recycling bin, anyways, and then it ends up.
Actually, I'd phrase that a little different. Doesn't get recycled.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on the commission's toes at all, but I just want to kind of just like say three very quick things about what you said. One was, so I agree that finding a way to make the trash collection more affordable is the way to go, right? Especially for low-income families. I think doing it as a subsidy, it ends up I think it will end up making the program both more complicated and expensive, right? We're going to be buying the bags. I mean, give away the bags, that's fine with me. But it will increase costs of the program, and I don't think actually. And then some people are going to get it, some people won't, and then it's contingent on, it's adding another kind of layer. And while I understand that the point of it, we could just eliminate the bags and not have that additional complication and actually save more money by my thinking. Does it actually, I think you point to a really important question. Does it actually reduce the amount of trash people throw away?
It does.
Yeah, that's
but when I go to the store, I don't think about what I buy and that I'm going to have to throw it away. Like people throw it away, people generate the amount of trash they're going to create, and then they figure out a way to get rid of it. Like people don't operate when they go around and they say, am I going to buy that radio? It's got all that packaging I'm going to have to throw away. I should buy a radio with a smaller amount of packaging. We just don't operate that way.
Some of us do. I think us on the commission, a lot of us do think that way. But of course, the regular Binghamtonian isn't going to do that. And that's right. But again, it is a tax. It is pay as you throw. And so I think over time, when people live in the city, let's say you're here for 6 months or you're here for 60 years, over time, that's just a subconscious calculus that you're doing. We have data from before the blue bags were implemented and once they are implemented, and there's a great reduction in the trash. Now, one thing you mentioned before is the illegal dumping. And yeah, with the blue bags, we do see an increase in illegal dumping, and that's an issue. However, you cannot say that the pay-as-you-throw system doesn't reduce trash. It does.
Well, sure, but we should be encouraging people but are we cutting off our nose to spite our face? If people are dumping it in the river or dumping it along the riverbanks or hoarding in their homes so that it attracts critters and ruins our housing stock, does the reduction actually end up saving us money and saving us time and effort? Or does it not? I'm just asking, what I'm saying is that I think that there's a larger context around the issue, and in the immediate sense, I'm not fully convinced that I trust that your expertise with the commission to say that it does, but I wonder what the collateral consequences of that are, and if it ends up being the most responsible way, and what the other knockoff effects are. That's really, I think, what I'm trying to put forward. And we can control the amount of trash that people throw away in different ways, right?
What
we don't.
Other municipalities in the state doing that are of similar size to Binghamton?
Utica.
But what are have we looked into what other municipalities are doing and how they're handling their solid waste disposal as kind of a model to look after?
We did look at Ithaca.
Okay.
I'm afraid to say Ithaca's rather a special case in many ways.
Yeah, I was just curious because I from an outside perspective, as someone who's just joining the commission, but also been hearing about the blue bag issue as a community member. And I also didn't grow up in Binghamton. I moved here about 8 years ago. It just seems kind of I am a little bit in agreement with Andy in a sense that people I don't really think are considering the amount of trash they're producing when they're purchasing items, especially everyday people. People just don't have the time to worry about that. They're more worried about putting food on their table, keeping a roof on their head, not how much trash they're consuming and therefore producing. So I was just wondering if there's options to explore like what other municipalities are doing to see if we could kind of make some decisions or get some insight based on that. Because I'm sure other municipalities are also finding alternative routes to reduce their waste, because that seems to be a really big thing, especially in New York State right now. Um, but I worry sometimes these conversations kind of come off as kind of happening in the ivory tower a little bit, because we're sitting here like being like research is doing this and that. And I agree research is important. I went to BU with my master's and everything. I was part of the institution and ivory tower a bit. But like what's the actual impact in the community, I guess, is my question. Have we like Andy said there was a survey with 12,000 or 1,200 signatures,
1200. I
half
mean, it
of
was
which
also like
had comments.
scientific.
It's
Yeah.
curious to me that like this is an issue the community seems so invested in. And I would almost say that like I think it's part of a bigger thing, kind of like what Andy's saying. Like it seems like the residents are concerned about the state of the city. I don't know why blue bags are the issue it's being attached to, but I do think that is something important to consider as well. I think some of it is just residents are kind of feeling like the city isn't really hearing them when they do make comment, and that's why they're attaching to this decision so well, because it was open to public comment and a petition was sent out. Um, so I agree it's important to discuss, but I also feel like it kind of ends up with everyone talking in circles a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Well,
let me just put forth an idea. There is a lot of controversy about, and it remains. It's not that it was settled by the election. So I wonder if we should advocate to have a proper study done. I mean, you know, I hate to say, oh, we need to study this because that's such a usual way of avoiding the issue. But we are amateurs here in the waste disposal business. And maybe we should advocate just that there be at least a reasonably funded study of this. What do you, yes, Nikita?
Yeah, and actually my second question, which like you guys are getting to, is has there been like, do we know like per like person, like how much trash per person is the average that's disposed in the city of Binghamton? And then do we know what it's compared to like with the town of Union where they don't have blue bags? So like how does like, and they don't have to pay, you know, like a private company. So like, have we seen like what is the trash, like what is the, like how much trash is Binghamton disposing with the blue bags compared to somewhere where a municipality just takes
Yes,
it?
of course.
And then is there a big difference? And then it's like, yeah.
I'm a great fan of looking at what other people have done. You know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, as they say. And by the way, Andy, it is 10 to
No,
1.
I can stay until Josh had to leave.
Oh,
I
see.
can
Okay,
stay
good.
longer.
So what do you think about the idea of us advocating for a proper study, especially in the context of instituting a composting? Because we've already said that we would like to see that.
I think if it's a two birds, one stone situation to assess the probability of composting being a municipal part of city waste collection and
Yeah.
also investigating blue bags, it makes the most sense to advocate for a study. And I also think it shows the community members that we're listening to them. We're hearing that they want some change here, or at least want to better understand the process. And I think advocating for a study kind of shows some initiative on our end, kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know, show that we're listening to what the people want. Because I don't know, I view kind of, I know we're all volunteers here, but I do think we're kind of representing the community at large a little bit.
Of course, the
Um,
immediate question.
we need to make sure though, we've talked about the blue bag. So those of you who are new today, the blue bag issue has been something we've been talking about for, I don't know, a year plus. We do want to make sure that we keep it within the scope of the environment though, because one thing that Andy was saying about like the ticketing being unfair, like some areas of the town get ticketed, I think that's a huge issue. And Andy, when you're saying that, to me, that was really how I took it as like the number one issue you said, but that would fall like outside of our scope, even though I absolutely think that needs to be investigated if, you know, there's being unequal ticketing. But then again, in terms of like when we look at the community, the two main issues are the durability of the bags and the cost of the bags. We've already addressed some types of potential mitigations with the cost, like it being in the food banks, the libraries, you know, subsidies, we've mentioned all those things. But then once we start getting more of like niche those, we're trying to solve all the problems of the blue bags, and we're just not going to be able to do that. So I think if we do want to advocate for some kind kind of study in order for city council to take it somewhat seriously, because honestly, I get the feeling that they don't take anything we say very seriously. It's almost like they just have to listen to us because they have to, and then they kind of like brush it off. That's just the sense I get. We need to kind of focus it and make sure it is within the scope of the Environmental Commission, or else I don't think that they're going to give it. I think they would see it as less serious the broader we get, just because, again, we are not professionals. So while the cost is huge, and and again, that does also contribute to some of the environmental concerns when it is so expensive you're not using it. So I do think it should be considered. I do think we need to be very careful about what we are asking them to study to make sure it is within the scope, even though we know that there are many other elements that do need to be addressed outside of the scope of environmentalism. That would also prolong us talking about the blue bags even more, but I think we can't just say, hey, study this. It needs to be the high hitting like environmental factors for it to even maybe get to city council and have a discussion.
Are there other facets of city, like other commissions or something that would also be interested in like joining us on presenting a study? So
Well,
there's
Pam, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I was thinking that because when Andy was talking about the inequality and and like the ticketing, that's what I was thinking, because I mean that's a huge problem, but that's absolutely with like beyond the scope of the Environmental Commission. I don't even think we could touch that. But I would do think another commission potentially could and really should, but I don't know. Julian, do you know what else there might be?
No, I don't know of any other, unit in the city that would undertake that. I mean, you might say, well, maybe the planning department would, or public works. I'm not sure. But I think the issue becomes, it does need a proper study. And my guess is that would be something that wouldn't be done in-house in the city. And therefore the question becomes, well, how would this be funded? Well, I think we can probably recommend that we look around for a source of funding, maybe suggestions of a source. We can't actually commission a study ourselves because we don't got a budget. But but maybe we
could I
could
say something?
persuade. Sorry, yes, Len?
So I think we're in a really crisis time for a lot of different reasons. And I think it would make us seem a little bit out of touch for us to be asking for budget things for this blue bag issue, when there are so many more critical environmental studies that we've devoted our attention to this. And I agree that Nikita's comment about comparing the town of Union, because that's data that we have that doesn't cost us money to get. But I think it would be necessary to survey the people that we aren't serving well and
Yeah,
ask them what their priorities are, because they don't care about blue bags. They care about their electricity bill
yeah. Okay,
or
well,
food.
thanks, Len. Yeah,
And then they're like, why are you saying that you're trying to help me? Because you've commissioned $30,000 for this study, or however much it costs to hire. And
right.
that's not what we asked. We wanted you to listen to us. And you're still not listening to us, and you're still wasting money that you could have used to help us. So I think, yeah, that's just my emotion on it.
Okay, thanks, Len. I guess part of my thought on that was that Andy actually sort of brought up what's happening, I guess, on the west side. And one thing we did advocate was that landlords actually have the responsibility for blue bags, and that should be pinned to them a good deal more tightly than it has been. But I mean, what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of things I don't know, that we don't know exactly. For instance, I think Nikita mentioned, how much garbage is actually produced by the city. And well, we do have numbers on that, but anyway, okay.
Well, Julian, a quick idea. If CCE and Vines are working on that composting project, I imagine there's going to be some interconnection between, increasing composting naturally will then decrease what we're taking from the landfill.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know if we have a contact or someone we can talk to there, but it might be worth reaching out to see if they've already have some kind of
As far as
data
I'm
or
aware,
study. Go ahead, Cam.
so I used to work at CCE. That's something, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That's the reason
No,
I'm
go
here.
ahead.
And I have to scram in about 5 minutes for another work meeting. As far as I'm aware, the composting at CCE, like that program is still functioning as community compost, but I don't know what their infrastructure is for like supporting citywide compost. I think that's where Vines kind of comes in. But I know that they've had some turnover in the person who covers that composting piece. So I would be my best guess that not much has happened on that side of things.
Cam, do you know of the new program they're doing with Vines? It's like because they have their by the Cutler Garden, they have like that
Yes, they have their
composting.
community compost, and then there's
Yeah.
talks of them doing drop-offs at the Vines gardens because those are much more like dispersed throughout the community. And I believe was the notion there, correct? Like having like access to that.
Okay. In that case, it might be insular and we won't have data. I
Yeah,
guess
I'm
we
not
can
sure
see
if
if we're
they're collecting
looking at.
data. I do think that is a great idea, but if we want to make composting a like citywide thing, I do think that needs to be more than two nonprofits that aren't super well funded. The city probably
Okay.
needs to have a bit more of a hand in it than that. Um, but that said, I do have to scram for another meeting. Thank you everyone for joining and Andy for coming and chatting with us. I'll check out the minutes to stay updated, and I look forward to reading those. Thank you guys.
I have a request for you, Cam, though,
Yeah,
before
what's up?
you, you've worked at CCE, so, by the way, we're also CECD, but, I mean Cooperative Extension. But, could I, suggest that you actually, could you find out how this, CCE Vine City Cooperation, project is working? Just,
Um, I could reach out to Sean Cummings and ask. I admittedly didn't leave on the best of terms, but I think I can still reach out and maybe get some information from them. I believe Sean Cummings is their environment director at present and would be the one managing that. And then I think at Vines, Amelia, I do not recall her last name, but I believe she would be a good contact there. But I could definitely try to reach out and get some information before our next meeting.
is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
Please
Cam,
do it.
if I get information before you do, I'll put it out.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, and if I get any, I'll post it to Basecamp as soon as I get it, so we all have it.
yeah, I'm going to a Vines Community Garden meeting tonight. Laura, maybe you're going? Laura?
Uh, is that tonight? Then
Okay, going. Bye, guys.
Anyways, okay.
I will try to. I might be daycare pickup, but
They,
if not,
they may have information tonight. Last I knew, they needed to find a coordinator for this program. So,
okay, so it's still early
Okay.
development then.
Okay, I was about to propose a motion, which we can't validate today because we don't have at least five, a quorum here to, in actual fact, to vote on it. I guess I wasn't quite aware we had to follow those rules, but apparently Sarah was just saying, the city clerk was just saying that we have to have at least five people in person attendance to actually pass a motion. So I'm not going to propose anything, but think on it. And I do hear you, Len, that there's a lot of other important issues out there. That's for, I was going to say damn sure, but um, let's truncate the comments now. I'll just ask Andy if he's got any parting shots for us.
Yeah, I just have two quick things. I mean, so I'm an environmentalist, right? Like I think that, but I do think that one thing that has turned me off of some environmental initiatives and things like that has been that it appears that it is disconnected often from other considerations,
Yeah,
right? If we're making people buy blue bags so that they'll recycle, that doesn't necessarily make people feel great about environmentalism,
right.
to be quite honest. So I am worried about, kind of trying to speak to Laura's concern about, expanding the scope. I think that, the environmentalists that are taken in the city need to be contextualized so that we understand the way that people see environmentalism itself. We have to promote environmentalism at the same time we're promoting good initiatives when they make sense for people's lives. So, and I would, a little bit of math. There's 20,000 households in the city of Binghamton approximately. $5 a month from each one of them, $60 a year. It's half the cost of a roll of large blue bags is what it would cost to generate $1.2 million.
Thanks for the.
Wait, say that again?
It would cost $5 a month for 20,000 households in the city of Binghamton. That's $60 a year is $1.2 million. That's less than half the price of, that's the price of 2.5 blue bags. Large blue bags.
Okay, thanks.
And I just want to agree with, I do think that the blue bag issue is critical for people, Len, but I fundamentally agree with you that the work of all city commissions should be guided by what people are saying. That's why I'm here tonight about this issue. And and by the way, I complain about other issues too, including the sidewalks not being shoveled so that people can walk on them and things like this. So I don't want you guys to feel like I'm just bring my annoyance here. I'm quite annoying all the time.
I appreciate you being here. I didn't mean that as a reflection on that.
Not at all, Len. I just wanted to say I fundamentally agree with you that it should be guided by what the folks are saying, and that's why I felt so strongly about this issue, but also broadly, and felt the need to come here today and talk to y'all. I just want to say that whatever on this issue and other ones, I want to support you guys and your work and what you guys are doing.
Good.
So I don't want to just come and kind of hurl stuff at you.
Good.
I want to get the math right, Andy. You said 20,000 households.
20,000 households, $5 a month.
So that's
$60 a year.
Yeah.
1.2 million.
$60 for each household. Okay.
Yep. And and that could be, and it just saves a lot of hassle. And we can control the amount of trash that's thrown away by city regulations already on the books. You can only put out 2 garbage cans, and they can only have 50 pounds a piece in the cans. So there's actually already regulations on the book that controls the amount of trash you can throw away. The thing I would say though, and the thing I'm concerned about is making sure people have access to the cans.
Yeah.
And I do think that fundamentally that the blue bags are a massive subsidy to landlords. And that's another kind of key issue for me and like our housing issues and things like that. So with that, I digress.
And
thank you.
One thing for you, would you be willing to serve on one of our committees? I know another thing of interest for you is Binghamton Plaza.
Yeah, I'm concerned about Binghamton Plaza. I am.
So you don't have to be a member of the commission to be on one of our committees.
I will. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would definitely serve on a committee. This is an issue I would love to work on, but if there's other critical things I can help support, I'm more than willing.
So I sent you an email about Binghamton Plaza. I don't know if I got your right email address. AJ Pragus.
AJR. Oh, is it age? It
I don't
depends.
have
I have a billion of them. Here, let me write you the one that I use.
Okay. All right.
Okay. The other issues that I listed here, actually, a lot of it has to do with either Tommy or Luke.
And
so
I got to go to work.
Good.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for
very
coming.
much.
Thank you, Andy.
It's good to see you.
We'll be in touch.
Good to meet you, Len.
I'll make sure you get a copy of the minutes too.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So actually, I would like to move for adjournment now, unless somebody wants to bring up an issue. Len?
Move for adjournment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We got a second with Nikita. And okay, all in favor? Okay. There's plenty more to talk about, but we'll do it later.
All right, we adjourned at 1:07.
Yeah. I kind of like that when clearly people have to leave at noon, at 1 o'clock anyway.
Most commission members do. Did we lose a few?
Well, I think that Caitlin always seems to have things arranged. She was one of the main reasons we went to noon.
I don't know where she was today, or Tom.
Are we gonna have enough people in person?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I guess, what I should do is, having recognized that, actually, that was one of the main problems with the Shade Tree Commission. They couldn't figure out a time to meet with people in person. Frankly, I think the in-person thing is an anachronism, but what can you do? It actually is the law for open meetings. So what I will do is simply push to have people come to at least try to get a quorum.
Can we do
So-
two things? Push to get people to come, and then push to get city council to have the law reflect the times? Because
It's a New York State law.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it, okay.
yeah,
Open meetings law.
yeah.
And that's an impact on our committees. I was talking to Luke. Just having a committee meeting.
Yeah,
I mean, we've done it, but it's a bit of a burden.
yeah, but in a way, committee meetings don't matter so much because anything that a committee decides has to be referred to the whole commission. I mean, any real motion, right?
Well, what Luke checked into last year was whether we need to follow the open meeting laws with our committees. Went to someone at the state level and was told, yeah, we do, which means you need to pre-announce the meeting, have an agenda out ahead of time. Then you have to set up the Zoom,
Yeah.
and it has to be recorded and available to the public. And we did that to some degree, but
Yeah. Okay.
the other option, Julian, is just to do committees via email. That's not ideal, I know, but
Yeah. Okay. I guess, well, I will certainly work on trying to get in-person attendance at
for the commission meeting.
at the
yeah.
commission. I think I'm annoyed enough by this because it is basically one reason I quit the Shade Tree Commission is we weren't going anywhere, but because of this law. But I'm going to protest it, see what happens. I mean, how can you protest a state law? Maybe you could get some kind of, because surely it is an anachronism, don't you think, with Zoom?
Yeah.
And,
Well, and the state law probably precedes Zoom too, and Zoom adds another level of
oh, I'm sure it does, but
complication.
maybe they should revise the law.
I know. Well, you got until June for this year. I don't know if you can, if you can get it through the legislature this year,
Yeah.
but if not, maybe for next year.
We could call our assembly and senate reps and
Yeah,
Yeah.
run it by them.
okay.
Advocate, I should say.
Well, thanks, folks.
So the shade tree issue, I didn't realize until Cam brought it up how dire that was. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
I've
on-
been on the Shade Tree Commission since 2000, since it was formed in 2008. And I was reluctant to quit, but I just did. And part of my reason for that, frankly, and are we still being recorded? Anyway, it's because I didn't think the executive took it seriously.
I think even though this is being recorded, they're gonna cut it out.
Yeah,
Well, anyway.
okay.
Oh, are you interested in working?
In what?
Working.
No, I'm working? No, I don't try to avoid work.
Uh,
No.
If you were paid hourly enough, would you do it?
What?
If you were paid hourly enough, would you consider?
What are you talking about, Nikita? What are you heading towards?
So starting in November, I started doing training AI models. And originally I was brought on at the end of July to train at biology for 2 different projects. And I didn't finish the onboarding for those. But then in November, I finally was official as a fellow. But and I thought about sending, I was going to send it to you, but they're looking for STEM professors that could help train the AI models to help teach the AI models how to interpret, to read and interpret papers.
Yeah.
And initially, the project they were going to give 100 up to 185 an hour. Now they're doing up to 500 an hour.
Wow. Yeah. Look, I would say that I shouldn't do that. I'm not savvy enough with AI. But
you don't have to have prior AI training.
What I'm thinking is there are probably some other people who might. The trouble is, you know who's really pretty smart is Ann Clark.
I was going to ask her if she.
Yeah. I think she would be good. And you know who's kind of at a loose end, I think, is Kurt Fischel. Do you know him or know of him?
Yeah, I know of him.
Yeah. He's recently retired and is not doing a Bartle, which is what I'm doing. So I could send you his name to ask. So he might be good. I'm thinking of biologists. I think most of the sort of the staff who are employed, well, there might be some interest there, but I'll think on that. I think most of them would say, oh, well, I have a full-time job now. Please don't ask me to do anything more. And actually, might be, I don't know, issues there. But anyway, I'll think on that. Okay.
Yeah, no.
But those two names, Ann Clark and Kurt Fisher.
Has Dr. Clark reached out to you at all in the past couple months?
Have what?
Has Dr. Clark reached out to you? Hey, how are
You
you?
guys ready for me to shut this down? Cool.
Has she reached out to you in the past couple months?